everyone. You are tuning in to Conversations with Courtney. I am sitting with a special guest, the founder of Balance Period, Raymond Achille. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Today we're going to talk about health because
Yes.
health is wealth.
Mm-hmm.
It's important, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about Balance Period.
Yeah, so Balance Period is a wellness and health equity firm.
Mm-hmm.
And we're really leading the charge here in Indianapolis to close the racial health gap. We offer health education services and wellness coaching services that are really designed to help people develop sustainable self-care systems so they can improve their quality of life and ultimately create what we call generational wellness, which is healthy habits that are passed down or exchanged between one generation and another. So that's our mission.
Do you all help Black women who are expecting? Because we know that is where some of the disparity shows up in some of the Black women healthcare.
Yeah, it's everyone, right? And that is, a group that we do pay attention to and provide resources for. Health education kind of spans across several different platforms for us. We offer educational content on YouTube, on Facebook, on different social media platforms, and then we also have our Generational Wellness Digest, which is a newsletter that comes out every week. We are aware of the 3 to 4 times. How Black women are 3 to 4 times more likely to die during the childbirthing process. So that's something that we compile content and information on and share it with people so they can just be more proactive and better advocates for themselves as they go through the childbearing process. And so for me and for Balance Period, we see ourselves as a platform that gives other people the voice to contribute to our overall mission, which is closing the racial health gap.
So tell us about your story and how you even gave birth to Balance Period.
Yeah, so just kind of taking it all the way back. I'm originally from South Bend, Indiana. I'm the youngest of 6 kids. So mom had 2, dad had 2, and then they had me and my older brother. Okay. My background was in kinesiology, so that's what I got my degree in. The personal the longest.
You got to break that down for people who don't understand what kinesiologist is.
It's a fancy way of just saying the study of human movement. So it positions you to either be a personal trainer, athletic trainer, physical therapist, things like that. So any health related field, typically people start with kinesiology as a degree.
Okay.
Yes.
So have you always wanted to do that even as a young person?
Always had a desire to help people. And I knew that I wanted to help people regarding their health in some way. I also was interested in engineering. Like my mind kind of works like in a systems driven way. So I did a lot of work with engineering early on, but then when I realized I didn't want that as a career, I shifted over to just focusing on something health related. So
so it wasn't. So it was always in your desire to like work with the body.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Because you know how like some things are stirred up because of an event or because of maybe a family member who inspired them. And then sometimes it's just in you.
Yeah, and I think, what inspired me to want to help people was spurred by family members, right? My mom, my grandmother, I was around them a lot growing up, and both of them were like natural caregivers. So I would watch them, donate their time, donate their energy to helping other people. And I think that's what really instilled in me just a desire to give back and to help. And so as I lived and had experiences, I then kind of shaped, what direction I ended up taking that, but same foundation.
So I'm very interested in nutrition. I have been interested in nutrition now for about 4 years, but I don't care to go back to school to be a nutritionist or anything like that, but I'm a vegan, right?
Okay.
And it's the more knowledge you get, the more you want to share with people. And my mom and I, we're kind of on this journey together, except she eats fish. And what I noticed, and her as well, what we've noticed is people only want to hear what they can receive as it pertains to food. If you're talking about giving up chicken, they're not going to do it. Beef, maybe not going to do it. Pork, you're in for a fight.
Right.
And what I've learned is that food is connected to health. How do you consult with people who maybe they have the tests that prove you should not be eating this, but because we have been so accustomed to eating certain things for such a long time, it's hard for them to give up.
Yeah, for me, I think it's going back to just being more conscious of it, of what you're eating, and then understanding the why behind it. So going a little bit deeper into like, well, why am I drawn to this food? And a lot of times people recognize that it's due to a pattern that they didn't even start. It's something that, happened before they could make those conscious decisions about what they ate. So I never tell someone to stop something cold turkey. And one, I'm not a registered dietitian, so I can't prescribe people things. I can just help them just be more conscious of what they eat. But I tell them just eat a little bit less, right? Eat a little bit less and introduce something else that's, more in alignment with your well-being a little bit more, and then see how you feel. And then really use that as your gauge, right? Yeah. And think about alignment. Is how I'm feeling in alignment with the health goals that I have? If so, this is something that I want to continue doing. If not, then you have to kind of make a decision.
And it's your decision.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's your decision. I actually experienced some health trauma of my own. I was 23 years old, and it was actually like 8 years ago, like today. 8 years ago today is when I started experiencing the symptoms. And it was just a severe back pain that I had for an entire day, and I thought it was back spasms. Come to find out, I had a blood clot in my lung. And I was closer to death than what I knew. By the time I recognized it, doctors already told me I was going to be okay. But at that point, I realized I needed to start thinking differently and behaving differently about how I cared for myself, or else there was an opportunity for me not to be here anymore. And at that time, even with my educational background, I thought, just movement and nutrition was really all you needed. I really didn't know about my mental and emotional health. I really didn't have a holistic approach to health and wellness. So this time, 8 years ago, it kind of threw me along this journey of just trying to explore different ways and different habits I can practice for my health and my longevity. I mean, my focus was like health optimization. So that's what led me along this journey. And then as I recognized the value of the different habits I was practicing, and I realized that it was really simple, I just needed to prioritize time to do it, then that's what prompted me to, one, start Balance Period, and two, start the Balance Period podcast, which they kind of started at the same time. But it was a way for me to share my story as a way to inspire and empower other people to think and behave differently about how they care for themselves so they can ultimately, live longer, happier lives.
You started experiencing back pains. Was that the only thing that you were experiencing?
Yeah, so I thought I was having back spasms because, I lift heavy weights. I was working out a lot at that time. And I just thought it was back spasms, but I never experienced it before. But every time I took a deep inhale, it was like a stabbing pain kind of in the right side of my back. And so that I was treating it as if it was that all day. Come to find out I had a blood clot in my lung all day.
So what convinced you to go to the hospital?
So the next morning, I was like, Mom, I need to go and, get some muscle relaxers for what I thought was back spasms. I was going to brush my teeth, and I brushed a little too far back, and I coughed up blood in the sink. And that's when I knew it was something more serious than back spasms.
Wow.
Yeah. So
how long did it take you to recover? First, how did they treat the blood clot? Did you have to go into surgery? Did they give you medication?
Yeah, no surgery. There's medication that they give to dissolve the clot, but that still takes a little bit of time. So I just had to monitor my heart rate for a little bit because for blood clots, they either dislodge from your lung and go to your brain. You could have a stroke, or they go to your heart. You could have a heart attack. So you kind of have to just monitor that for a little bit. It took me about a full month. I kind of took, just rested for a month in order to give my body the space to recover, and then I kind of started to build from there.
Did you change your diet during that time?
I changed it after because I was 23. I told myself, I was like, okay, I still have a six pack. I can eat whatever I want. I don't have to worry about that until I'm 30. Right. But after that experience, I was like, let me just be more conscious. I did go, I adjusted my diet. I ate primarily plant-based for a decent amount of time before I started reintroducing meat back into my diet. And I was just consistently being curious about what would work well for me and my diet long term. And I was just trying to introduce more and more things into my routine.
Why do you think, and I think we all know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Why do you think the healthcare system is not designed to treat all people fairly?
I mean, it's large in part due to the status of people of color and Black folks in this country when the industry was being developed. When the industry was being developed, we weren't really looked at as human. We were used as guinea pigs in order for them to develop different, procedures and tactics that they go on to win awards for. It was our bodies that were being tested on in order for them to develop, those things. So because of our status, we weren't looked at like,
humans.
we weren't looked at as humans, and unfortunately that has stayed, from generation to generation throughout our healthcare system.
It's unfortunate because you want to encourage, especially our Black men, to go see a doctor, right? Because it's something that they typically don't do. But then you understand them when they say like, "Nah, I'm not going to no hospital, not unless I really, really need to."
Yeah. And it's really unfortunate because a lot of the things that we are disproportionately impacted by and that we die from at a higher rate, they're somewhat preventable. Not even somewhat. A lot of the conditions are preventable if we have regular check-ins and we're, learning as we age. We're aware of our family health history. We get the, the typical screenings. Sure. We can catch them, and then we won't wait until there's something that's terrible happening before we go. And a lot of times it's just too late. So that's why I'm a huge, passionate advocate for health equity in general, and sharing my story and helping people that feel like they don't have a voice. Sharing with them the importance of going and getting checked out and doing those things. And if they need someone to support, like, I'll go with you, right? I will literally be there with you if you need me to, if you feel comfortable with having someone else in there, just so that you're able to get the, the support that you need.
Get the support you need, advocate for yourself, and, be on the journey to wellness. Yeah. My dad, he got sick last year, so last February, and I remember getting that phone call, and I was just like, what? Because you never think it can happen to your family. You never think that something will hit close to home. And it reminded me how important it is for us to take care of ourselves before we have to go see a doctor, or before it gets to a point where it's, I don't want to say too late, but before it gets worse. Yeah. And so I just remember thanking God, one, that he was where he was when everything happened, and two, happy that he was active enough that he recovered probably before the doctors even, thought he would. Yeah. And that's because my dad still plays basketball. My dad, now, I don't know about the eating. Sorry, Dad. I don't know about the eating, but, definitely just active and taking care of yourself. But also, like you said, the emotional and mental health plays a big factor into our health as well. Can you talk a little bit about that, the mental and emotional health?
Yeah, I'll start with kind of my journey at finding what worked well for me to promote my mental health. So as I mentioned, around the time of me experiencing the blood clot, I didn't have any practices in place to support my mental health aside from exercise. And yes, nutrition does contribute to how we feel mentally too. Right. But I didn't realize that I didn't have anything in place until after I didn't exercise for a month. And I was like, it was really messing with my head. Like it was just, my mental health was off because I wasn't exercising consistently. And I'm grateful. I do have a foundation of faith. I grew up in the church. Both my parents were elders. I was there multiple times a week growing up. So it was like, I had a relationship with God that I was able to lean on and know that, everything was going to be okay. And I just needed to, persevere and kind of work through it. But I was like, okay, I need to have a habit in place that I can practice consistently. And I started to do some research, and I started to, read a lot of articles, see what worked for other people. And something that was coming up consistently was mindfulness. Right, and meditation. Now, I mentioned I had the background in the church. That was something that was demonized. It was like, don't do that, right? Anything outside of prayer, giving it to God was only option, right, that I had. And so it was definitely some resistance there, but I ended up giving it a try. And I downloaded the Headspace app for a week, the 1 week free trial. I did it, and then I was like, this was transformational. Like I had never observed my thoughts. I always thought that everything that crossed my mind was true and I needed to take action on it. Like, I didn't realize that I could just observe it and not do what I was thinking I needed to do. And so I was like, I'm going to commit to a year. I'm just going to do this 5 to 10 minutes a day. That's it. And throughout that year, just completely transformed my quality of life, the relationship I had with myself, with other people. Everything changed for the better. My eating got better. Everything just improved. And so I was like, okay, this is going to be my thing. And so that's what started me practicing mindfulness and really becoming more emotionally intelligent, which contributes to your mental health, and then just having just building blocks on top of the foundation of mindfulness to now have, all of these practices that I integrate into my lifestyle to promote my mental health. So I think it's important because what I've learned is that my inner world really creates my outer world, right?
That's
if
true.
my mindset is off, or if I'm not thinking, in a way that's in alignment with the outcomes that I want to get, there's no way that I'm going to get it. I'm going to end up creating things that aren't really in alignment with what I actually want to see. So our mental health and just being conscious of what our emotions are, what they're telling us, is so important.
Yeah, that is true, because if you are not taking time to be with yourself and to really digest your thoughts and how you feel about certain things, it's going to throw you off. And you probably are going to be just all over the place, just, taking on everything. Like, I know that a lot of people say they're empaths. I hate that, because you can be empathetic without taking on other people's baggage.
Yes.
And people's baggage can create more baggage for yourself, which is a heavy load on your mind and your heart and your body. And so I'm like, no, I'm not an empath. I'm empathetic to what you feel, but I'm not going to take on your baggage. I can help you come up with solutions, but it's not my job to fix problems that I didn't create, that I'm not even really intertwined in, if that makes sense. And I don't want other people to do that. Like, if you can help me, fine, but don't take on that. Like, don't take on that stress.
Yeah. And I think, as I learn more about empathy in general, I see it as I'm standing alongside you, or like if you find that you're in a pit right now and you're going through some things, I'll go down there with you and be there with you for support. I'm not staying down there with you, and I'm not taking anything out of that pit with me when I go back into, anything else that I'm doing next. So it's definitely a strategy behind it.
Yeah.
And just intention, right, with how you're showing up for that person in that moment, so that you're not, taking on and feeling like you're there to solve their problems, because ultimately the only person that can really solve someone else's problem is themselves. And I learned that because I realized that any problem that I had in my life, it came from inside of me in the first place, right? There's really nothing external that creates problems for me. It's how I see it and how I respond to it that creates the problem. So I only learned that though through introspection, from reflection, and just expanding my self-awareness. So I think that by giving people the space and grace to do that for themselves, they'll also come to a similar realization.
And it helps them, I think also just having that boundary, because if you don't have like a boundary to say, hey, I don't have the capacity, people will trauma dump on you a lot. And it might be to the point where you're like, okay, whose problem is this, mine or yours? I've had to learn how to create boundaries for my own well-being. I don't have the capacity today. It's okay. It's okay if you see somebody calling and being like, I'm gonna get back to them.
100%. 100%. So we developed something called the Balance Blueprint inside of Balance Period to help people go through that journey of expanding their self-awareness, integrating self-care habits into their daily life. And one of the steps is that the step is no, to tell people no, and that's okay. But the focus is on boundaries. And like like you said, understanding what your capacity is helps you recognize when the boundaries cross. And then it's okay to say no.
Yeah.
It's okay to say no. It's tough sometimes. You may experience guilt, which is natural. It's a part of the process. But if you're able to sit with that for a little bit and recognize that experiencing that is temporary, but it's contributing to your well-being so that you can truly be of service to other people, then you're able to continue to live in a way that's in alignment with your health.
Tell us about your podcast, because you have a podcast, Balance Period.
Yeah.
Correct.
Balance Period podcast. Yep. Started in 2018, and we've produced probably somewhere near 250 episodes on the platform. So there's a lot of content in our catalog to go back and choose from. It's ebbed and flowed in what we focused on. We do like different series. I know the most recent series was towards the end of last year. It was specifically for entrepreneurs of color. And it was talking about creating generational wellness as you build generational wealth. And it was highlighting kind of 4 different areas that you can expand your awareness of in your daily life so that you can promote your health and well-being as you build your business. And so we just broke that down episode by episode. But yeah, anything you can think of health related, we probably talked about it at some point. A lot more the last couple of years, a lot more focus has been on like health equity and different topics around disparities that we see, why we may see them, and then strategies to go about ultimately being a better advocate for yourself in healthcare spaces. So,
Nice. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So I'll make sure to to put your the link to your podcast and
Yeah.
everything so people can check it out. Because I do think that, when you're healthy, you can make sound decisions. You can make decisions that better your future. And when I say healthy, I'm saying like making good choices for you mentally, physically, emotionally, because we definitely want to make sure our people are in a great space to thrive, and have that support.
Yeah, and a few tips on that. And like when I say tip, I'm more so talking about a habit you can practice in order to promote your mental health, physical health, and performance. There's really, for me, I take it back to basics. That's kind of how I approach my well-being. Like, what is the simplest thing I can do consistently that will get me the biggest bang for my buck? First is sleep, hands down. If you optimize your sleep, you are going to create the conditions for yourself to thrive from the inside out. That was when God designed our minds and bodies to heal and recover, right? And so when you're sleeping well, you will be feeling well automatically. It actually enhances your ability to do anything else health related during the day when you actually get quality sleep. So we have a lot of content on Balance Period about sleep. Feel free to go check more out. Sleep hygiene is kind of the category that lists out just different strategies that you can use to improve your sleep over time. Another
that's one thing I don't do as well. Like I sometimes go to bed early. Like I have to force myself to be in bed by 9:30. It's how can I explain this? It's like I have all these things I need to do before bedtime. It's like, girl, you should have been doing this before bedtime.
Yeah. Ideally, we recommend people just create an evening routine that last hour before you go to bed, kind of really curating the space for yourself to fall and stay asleep. And there's a lot of things you can add to that last hour. But the biggest thing that will contribute to you getting better quality sleep is just consistency. If you go to bed and wake up at around the same times every day,
do it every day,
even on the weekends, right? Every day you're going to really align your body with its circadian rhythm.
Did you say even on the weekend?
Even on the weekend. Even on the weekend. I know sometimes
I woke up at 6:30 this morning.
Sometimes on the weekend people say, "Oh, I'm gonna sleep in," and that's okay to a certain degree. You can kind of have like an hour buffer if you like, hey, I'm gonna sleep in for an additional 45 minutes. That's fine, but ideally you're keeping it as consistent as possible.
Okay, gotcha. So, you said sleep.
Sleep is one. Hydration is another one.
Okay.
Right? Like we are made up of so much water.
Bust this myth real quick.
Okay, I'll see if I can.
Okay.
Let's see what it is.
I kind of put them on the spot. Okay, so do you get more hydration with coconut water and fruit water? When I say fruit water, I'm speaking of like actually juicing a watermelon or actually juicing some type of fruit. Do you get more hydration with those type of things other than water, or is like water the super hydration king?
I say just start with water, right? Okay. And I think there are other vitamins that you may get when you're adding something like juicing a fruit, but hydration is coming from water, right? And of course, there's different types of water. There's mineral water, there's all these other things.
Do you have a favorite?
I have a water filtration system at home.
Oh, okay.
That I use, and so and then I drink Path water a decent amount, but I typically use their bottle, so I'll then refill.
Is that alkaline?
This is alkaline, but they also have still.
Okay.
So I'm not like a drink alkaline water. You have to like but I drink it,
Okay.
And we're just made up of so much water that it's important for us to stay hydrated. A lot of us don't track or measure how much water we drink, and then when you're active, you're supposed to drink more water. And typically, when we're not aware of it, we don't do nearly as much what we need to accommodate the water loss each day. So
how much water do you drink in a day?
I shoot for 8 to 12 8-ounce glasses of water. So anywhere between 64 and like 96.
That's what I try to do. Yeah. I was drinking a gallon of water daily. I was like,
Yeah,
I don't know if I got watered out or what.
I thought you were overhydrated. You didn't need that much.
I was like, because I'm small too. Yeah. Like, I didn't need that much water. Don't get me wrong, I was feeling good, but it was just a lot of water. I was like, I got to take it down. So now I'm down to like 64 ounces. Yeah, and like between like 50 to 64 ounces. Yeah.
And there are different equations out there that you can find that will help you understand based on your body weight how much you may need. So you can get really, granular and learn more about specifically your circumstance, which I would encourage.
Yeah.
But if you start with, the 8x8, what's recommended, you're at least, creating the foundation to then be able to build from and find out kind of where your nuance is in that. So hydration is probably the second.
Sleep, hydration. Give me breathing. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you give me 5? Breathing. Okay, sure. That's fine. Come on, explain breathing.
Breathing. I mean, unfortunately, we don't.
Let's take a deep breath.
We don't breathe correctly, right? And so, yes, typically, you want to be upright. Anytime we lead a mindful moment, I'll make sure we're upright. Our shoulders are relaxed. We're breathing in through our nose, really filling your lungs with air, and then you're exhaling through your mouth, fully releasing all of the air that's in your lungs, right? A lot of times people breathe through their mouths in and out.
For real?
Yeah, some people are mouth
breathers.
They might not pant like that, but they breathe like that, right? So I encourage you to breathe through your nose.
Okay.
That helps to filter the air as it goes into your lungs, and it actually allows you to kind of get deeper into your lung capacity to be able to kind of reach all of the crevices that you can reach.
Is it normal to close your eyes? Because I always do that.
Yeah, it's normal to close your eyes. I'm also talking about just breathing when you're living too, right?
Just normal.
Outside of
he's talking normal breath.
A mindfulness practice or something like that. Just as you breathe, just being conscious of your breath, breathing from your stomach instead of your chest. So when you breathe, you might not be able to see this, but like my hand is going out from my abdomen.
Do it again. It's going out.
Thank you for confirming that. So breathing into your stomach is also important, because when you breathe through your chest, it's a little more shallow.
Yeah.
And you're trying to get deeper into your lungs as you breathe. So breathing is huge. And yes, breathing just throughout the day, being more conscious of it, but then also, having a mindfulness practice where you sit down and breathe. And then there's a whole bunch of breathing practices that you can do that really help shift your physiology. So if you're feeling like, you're super stressed, you can actually use breathing to regulate what's happening and to help you calm down mentally by just engaging in a breathing practice. One practice is box breathing. So a 4-second inhale, 4-second hold, 4-second exhale, 4-second hold. Going through that a few times, you're naturally going to calm down. Or you can just inhale and then exhale longer than you inhale. And that's a natural way to activate your parasympathetic nervous system and calm yourself.
Does breathing help you sleep better at night?
Yes.
Okay.
It definitely does.
Why do you think that's so?
I mean, breathing is fundamental for our existence, right? We can't go that long without breath, and oxygen plays a huge role in everything operating at its optimal level. Yeah. So when your breathing is, restricted in some way, people are snoring a lot, you're not going to get the best sleep quality. You're not really getting your body in the position it needs to be in to go through the processes to heal and recover. So breathing is essential at night. Something that has been more popularized over the years have been like mouth tape, to where you like tape your mouth shut so you have to breathe through your nose, and that will
at night or just
at night. Sometimes, when you start it, you can use it during the day just to kind of get your body used to only breathing through your nose, but it's designed for when you're asleep at night to put it over your lips. So breathing, that's the third one.
Never heard of that. Okay, so we got sleep, hydration, breathing.
Fourth is consumption in general, right? Like, we are what we eat. So thinking about your nutrition, what foods are you eating, making sure that it's the highest quality food possible. Like I said, I'm not a registered dietitian, so I can't tell you exactly what to eat. But the closer that it is to its natural form, the better. So the least processed, the better. So just keep that in mind. And then in addition to what you eat, also understanding your mental diet, right? What you watch, what you read, and what you listen to. That plays a huge role in your mental health and your physical health and overall performance as well. So auditing what you're reading, auditing music you listen to, the podcast, like all of those things, and really understanding if it's in alignment with the lifestyle that you want to live and the quality of life that you want to have. So that's the fourth: consumption, but food, and then your mental diet.
And then, so fifth was your mental diet?
Well, no, that was part of four.
Oh, that's part of four.
Fifth is movement, right?
Fifth is movement.
Fifth is movement. So, of course, formal exercise is what is recommended, and I encourage people to have some sort of exercise practice. It could be going to the gym, going to a workout class, or playing a sport that you enjoy. But honestly, it could be as simple as just going for a walk, right? Well, especially after you eat, it definitely helps with digestion and kind of processing your food. But getting into a habit of moving on a consistent basis, even if you're saying, hey, I'm going to park further away when I'm going to the grocery store, I'm going to take the stairs instead of taking the elevator, right? Doing that will help you just get more movement in your day.
I always take the stairs. I'm really afraid of elevators. Yeah, I'm for real. Like it's something about being in the box by myself. If I'm with someone, I'm okay.
Yeah.
But I opt for the stairs every single time.
Well, you're getting your movement in.
Yeah.
When we move, it helps us. It helps us feel better physically. There are endorphins that are secreted when we move. Our mental health is improved in the moment. It also contributes to us getting better sleep at night too when we actually move during the day. So movement is definitely a part of, I would say, the top 5.
I've heard from at least 2 to 3 people saying, I'm not a gym girly. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. So what can they do? I know you said that they can play a sport, but if they're not a gym girly or guy, they're probably not playing a sport. What can they do, that is fun? Because I would recommend joining like an active group, such as like they have bouncing. I don't know if have you ever seen that? They're on these like little that I feel like that is super cool. They have stuff like that. Help me.
Yeah, I mean, I think building community around what you're doing helps. So there's like run clubs, of course, a subsection of the people walk, so you can just go out and walk with other people.
True.
Let's see, I've seen some people on like these bungees, and they be like throwing themselves to the ground and back up, and it looks kind of fun. I don't think I would ever do it, but there's a lot of different things out there.
I wouldn't do that either, but
group exercise. If you just search group exercise classes near me, there's an array of things. Boxing is one. There's a lot of different things you can try. So just find something that you enjoy. That's the cool thing about it. I can't tell you have to do this. You just have to move and do it consistently and get your heart rate in the different zones that are important to building your cardiovascular health. So it's just find something you enjoy and do it consistently.
Yeah. A few years ago, I was a part of like this boot camp club. It was a lot of fun. I mean, we were doing kickboxing. It was hard, but it was fun. And it was a workout because I'm typically a person who doesn't like to feel like I'm working out. I just want it to be fun, like jumping or something like that. Like, oh, this is fun. But what I can say is like when you do have a community, they're very supportive, and it makes you want to continue to come back. Like, okay, let me get ready and geared up because people are expecting you. I have to work out with a partner. I'm one of those people. I don't want to work out by myself because I'm like, oh, girl, you okay? You can skip today, and then today, tomorrow. So when I have a workout partner, it's better for me because it's like I have somebody dependent on me. I am so grateful that you were able to stop by and that you blessed us with your knowledge on health and fitness and wellness and all of those things. I am going to connect your profile to the description so people can connect with you.
Awesome.
Is there any last words you want to leave us with?
Yeah, something that I always share, whether it's a podcast or a speaking engagement or anything like that, is just a reminder that you don't have to be perfect to make progress.
True.
So be patient with yourself and be kind to yourself as you travel along your journey of optimizing your health and ultimately creating generational wellness. So, you deserve to be happy, healthy, and live a wholehearted life. So approach life in that way and just be kind to yourself along the journey.
Nice. Thank you so much, Ray, for stopping by on the Conversations with Courtney podcast. I really appreciate it. If you are tuning in and you have not subscribed yet, please do so. We're having really great discussions right here on Conversations with Courtney, and we would love for you to join them all, okay? Again, thank you for tuning in, and catch up on some other episodes if you want to. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching Conversations with Courtney. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, please do so. And if you are a subscriber, thank you so much for your love and your support. Please like, comment, and share. Share not only because you've enjoyed this conversation, but you believe someone else can tap into the resources, the healing, and also gain some hope. These are some great stories, and I look forward to presenting more stories and having more conversations. So please join the discussion.